Hey guys, it's Peyton, and today I am going to be telling you what I read in the month of April. And I'm also going to apologize for basically my month-long absence. I have had so much schoolwork recently, and I think it's more important to keep up with that boring stuff, you know? And I'm sick right now, so if I sound disgusting and congested, you get it. I hope you get it. I'm sorry. Let's just go ahead and get back to the books. So I read 4 books this month, which isn't nearly as good as the past 2 months. I think I've read like 7 books those months, but I'm still really proud of it because I'm still reading a lot more than I used to. I am pretty much really happy with what I read this month. So let's go ahead and show you what I read. The first book that I read is Scythe by Neil Shusterman. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I highly enjoyed this book. I tabbed it a bit, and I thought it was a really interesting book. I think what kind of took off that 0.5 stars is the really bad execution of romance in this book. It just wasn't well done, and though I don't really think Neil Shusterman was really going for that, but it did eventually get to a place where they were supposed to have feelings for each other, but I didn't really see that chemistry or how it got there. In the later books, it might affect some things. I was mostly here for this book for the really interesting plot. I said interesting again. That's my favorite word, apparently. You just couldn't put it down. Not necessarily was it my love for the characters, not that I hate them or anything, but I don't think I'm absolutely obsessed with the characters as I am with certain other books. It's just the plot, the story is a really driving factor in continuing to flip every single page. It's really good. This book is about a world where it's basically a utopian society. No diseases, no one dying really, nothing harming them other than the designated killers of the society, the Scythes. And these people are there to keep the population in check because you cannot have such an overflowing of people because these people are now immortal. So there is a designated group of people that kill people for a living, and it's necessary for everyone else to continue on. So this is about a girl named Citra and a guy named Rowan, and they are apprentices under a Scythe, and they are in the journey of becoming a Scythe. The next book that I read was Thunderhead by Neil Shusterman, which is the second book of the Arc of the Scythe series or trilogy, and I gave this book a 3.5 out of 5 stars, so basically a whole star rating down from the last book, which I feel like is kind of an unpopular opinion. Most people would give this like 5 out of 5 stars, yet I'm over here with 3.5 out of 5 stars. I just don't have that same obsession over the series, though I really enjoy it. I don't know how to explain it. It's just not that obsession that I've seen other people with it, though I was always intrigued to know what was going to happen next and everything. I think the characters are just not my favorite characters, which definitely is probably an unpopular opinion. And I think from what I said from the first book, the romance, not really feeling it, a part of this book was going off of that. When I didn't feel connected to it, it just broke apart certain things for me. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's basically just how I felt about this book. I will be continuing on because obviously I'm really into the series, just not as much as some other people are. And this is the first book that I ever completely annotated. Though it doesn't have that many, but I would write in the margins and underline certain things that I liked, but hardly any tabs. So I don't know what that means. It was a really fun experience being able to annotate a book and just be free with it and write down my thoughts onto it. But maybe this probably wasn't the best choice for my first annotating book because it wasn't like a 5 out of 5 stars for me, but it was a really enjoyable experience and I'm glad I read it. The next book that I read is one I am so happy I read, and finally I read it, and it is Wonder by R.J. Palacio. I don't really know how to say your last name. This book was magnificent and I need to see the movie. So I gave Wonder a 5 out of 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. It is about a little boy named Augie Pullman, and he is going into the 5th grade. But it's a little bit of a different situation than the normal 5th grader. He was born with a facial deformity, as I think you call it, and all of his life he's had surgeries trying trying to make his life easier because certain things like his nose won't work and his ears and things like that, just trying to make his everyday life easier. So he hasn't ever been able to attend school before, but this year he's going to school, and you can imagine that kids are mean and they will bully poor Augie, the beautiful little Augie. And I was really shocked with how much I related to Augie and the feelings that he felt when he was just walking down the hallway of his school, and how terrifying that could feel. I don't know, but something about him really inspired me, and I think I really read it at a good time in my life because I was feeling really anxious, and this made me feel grounded or whatever. I'm so happy I read this, and thank you, Brittany, for telling me to read this. The next book that I read was Leah on the Offbeat by Becky Albertalli. I gave this book a 4.5 out of 5 stars. This is basically a sequel, prequel, I don't know, to Simon vs. Homo Sapiens Agenda, which was adapted into the film Love, Simon, which I loved. But this followed our character, well, the side character from Simon, Leah, and that's his best friend. And she is a closeted bisexual. This just follows her journey coming to accept this and telling her friends. It's basically her own love story. This book is heavily focused on romance, and it's something I can't really discuss without spoiling people, so I'm thinking about making a review because there is certain things that I want to discuss that will explain my 0.5 off. Though I really enjoyed this book, and I related to Leah a lot more than I even expected I would. She's a relatable character, and I think it was pretty well done, though it wasn't perfect. I also really love this cover. I think it's my favorite Becky Albertalli cover. It just was so pretty, and I don't know, I really like it. So that is all I read this month, and thank you guys so much for watching. Like this video, comment down below, have a good day, please subscribe, make sure to follow all my social medias, which are linked down below, and go click the bell button, which is right by the subscribe button, which you should have already clicked. Also tell me what you read this month yourself, and goodbye.